Get rid of your fag. Good evening, guys and girls, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to week 3 of our weekend review with my my football friend, Forrest Ant. How you doing, Ant?
I'm doing good, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm good to see you as always, bud. Guys, we're not going to spend too much time on it on each game. To be honest, we're just going to run through them because it's been a long week already. Guys, we're not going to spend too. I'm in stereo.
Ooh,
Sorry about that.
hey, echo,
Right. So
echo.
yeah, we're not going to spend too much time. You can see the scores going across the bottom, and we don't really. Obviously, if you want to know our opinions on Man United Forest game, just watch the gore from Sunday night, and you'll get all our opinions on this. So we don't want to go back over that one, but let's start with the first game of the weekend, which is actually a decent match, really, and that was Chelsea 3, Luton 0. Anne, did you watch a game?
Yep. Watched the whole game. Yeah.
What did you? I mean, I thought Sterling was absolutely.
Yeah.
I've already thought before this game that he started to look like he's getting back to his best. And
Absolutely.
okay, it was against Luton, but he looked really good, didn't he? That first goal was amazing.
He's looking back to his very best, which is quite a surprise because he did look like he was on the downslope, didn't he? But he looked back to his very best. Sparkling performance, really. The one real sparkling performance, in my opinion.
His first goal, he danced through about 3 or 4 challenges, didn't he, into the box, and really smart little finish as well. But this is the thing that people, because he's been around for so long. I have a guess at how old do you think he is? You probably know, but how old do you think?
I would say he's around 28.
Yeah, well, he is. He's 28, and which is a lot of people will say is when you hit the prime of your career.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's just because seems like he's been around forever. But he
has. He's been around 10. He's been around 10 years, hasn't he? In football, that's a long time.
Yeah,
and he's been at the top for 10 years as well. He's been at the top.
This is what people forget. I mean, he was a fantastic player at Liverpool, obviously, which is what interested the likes of Man City to get his signature. But I think he should be hitting the prime of his career right now. He really ran that game, and like I say, he has run a couple of games for Chelsea just without getting the assists and goals that he richly deserved. But definitely took hold of that game. What did you think of the players around him? The likes of Gusto had a really good game. He got a couple of assists as well, didn't he? And Chilwell's playing as a winger pretty much at the moment, isn't he? He's certainly not a defensive player. He's playing as a left winger for most of the game. Really influential. They're pushing really high. Obviously, it's against Luton. Can we read too much into that game, or is it that they basically got the job done and they're at home as well?
Yeah. No, I don't think we can read too much into that game. Luton, I'm really concerned that Luton might break Derby's record. I can't see where they're going to get a win. They look exactly what they are, a championship side, no better. So I don't think you can read too much. I mean, when you think of the amount of money that Chelsea have spent and the quality of the players they've got, they should be beating Luton 3-0. It should just be a passing note, shouldn't it? It's nothing. They've not done anything great by beating Luton 3-0 at home. So I don't think you can take a lot out of it.
In terms of money spent, do you think Chelsea is still in the market for a couple more players? Because as much as I like Jackson, as much as I like Nicholas Jackson, he's certainly had the most shots on target of any Chelsea player. He's only just scored his first goal against Luton on the weekend. But they lost Nkunku. They need to replace him. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon they're still in for a striker or any other players that you think they'll be targeting in a transfer window before the end of the transfer window, obviously?
It's Chelsea, Of course they're in for more players.
Even if they don't need them, yeah.
Yeah, if they get an injury, they're a bit like a lot of the top clubs are like that. The wealthiest clubs, shall we say. They get an injury, just go and replace with a top quality replacement as well. They don't have to do what we do. It's just get anybody in. They go and get a top quality replacement. So, yeah, I fully expect them to spend more money. I can't remember. I just watched the bloody Chelsea podcast as well. And I can't remember who he said they were linked to. But yeah, they're linked to all the players. And they're getting rid of a lot of their deadwood as well, aren't they? So
looks like Cucurella's on his way out, isn't he? I mean, I know Man United are definitely interested because of Luke Shaw's long-term injury. Yeah, it would be a loan move because they've got Shaw and Malacia to come back, haven't they? Both from injury, so it doesn't really make sense for them to be signing another left back. But they're both out for a period of time where you'd need the cover. So I can see that deal happening. I don't see why Cucurella wasn't given more time under Pochettino, but he clearly doesn't fancy him. But yeah, I can see players go now. I certainly can't see that their transfer business is finished. And guys, just to give you a heads up, transfer window closes on Friday, doesn't it? It's 11 o'clock on Friday.
11 o'clock Friday.
I'm sure we'll be doing a live transfer deadline stream on we are. So guys, make sure you're subscribed to the main FFTV channel. Make sure you've also hit the notification button so you know when that show's live. But we're definitely looking to do a transfer deadline stream and looking forward to it, guys. If it's anything like what we did last season, which was really fun, and we had a lot of you guys in there, I'm really looking forward to it. So going on from that, so that was the opening game of a weekend.
Can I just have a quick mention on Cucurella?
Sure.
A lot of Man U fans I've seen online, surprise, surprise, are not rating him terrible. What we're doing, they forget a year ago, Cucurella was one of the top-rated left-backs in the country. He had a magnificent season for Brighton, and he went to the madhouse that was Chelsea at the time. I agree with you. Maybe we thought Pochettino might give him a bit more time, but they've got Maatsen, they've got Chilwell, so they've got all the players in there. And I think that they could be getting a good player. He is a good player. He's just had a terrible season in a terrible side, and lots of them didn't Chelsea last year.
Well, because because the other left back they're linked with is Reguilon from Spurs. And if they're looking for as close to a like for like replacement to Luke Shaw, Cucurella, or however you pronounce his name, he is much more closer to Shaw's type of play. I think Reguilon is possibly. It's not somebody that I would. If I had a choice between the two of them, I'd be looking at Cucurella. But we'll see.
He'll be playing in a team that's going to be heavily possession based as well. So his defensive side of his game is not as important at Man United as it would be at us, for example. To be honest, there's similarities between him and Tavares, not in the quality, but in the way that they play.
Yeah, so we've been linked. Well, it was a here we go for Tavares, wasn't it? So all the transfer news, guys, so far. There is some more, but I haven't got enough information on it from a Forest point of view with the link to Michy Batshuayi to really get into a conversation or debate about it right now. But do look out for all the updates on the main FFTV channel and, of course, the FFTV High Press channel, where Dino will be putting out videos left, right, and center. Anything you want to look at in terms of stats, player performances, highlights, reels. FFTV High Press is definitely the place to go. He's put some amazing content out already just today. So please head over there after this stream. Go afterwards, not just yet. But we'll move on to the next game that we've got on our little mini list, and it's your boys. Tell me more about that game, because I only saw the highlights. Did you watch? Did you watch the whole game?
Or
is that a stupid question?
A bit, I
don't know how you managed. It was on the same time as Forest and Man U. I don't know how you managed that.
There are a lot of people out there on the internet that don't have a lot of football knowledge. I keep hearing, even from the top Arsenal guys, it's the system, it's the system, it's the system. If you actually look at the statistics, Arsenal are creating more chances than they did last year and conceding less chances than they did last year. The fact is that there were two really bad mistakes. You take those two really bad mistakes and Arsenal win comfortably. It's not the system. I mean, don't get me wrong, the players aren't up to speed as they were last year. They were unbelievable last year. But always blaming the system and chucking everything at Havertz. I mean, it wasn't Havertz that gave those goals away. I can promise you that. You know what I mean?
It was Saka's. Well, let's talk through the goals. That first one was Saka's mistake, wasn't it? Obviously, he's looked to do a back pass. Definitely not even looked
to nobody.
To nobody. And I thought Pereira's finish was well taken. A lot of people are saying he mishit it or he took it too early. I thought he struck it perfectly. He certainly caught Ramsdale off guard, didn't he? He was going the wrong way. He was nowhere near getting any decent hand to it. But it was a mistake from Saka. But Pereira took a chance. But to be fair, Fulham came out of the traps, after they had a couple of chances in that first half. It then settled down into a more even game. But Saka seemed quite determined to try and make up for that mistake, and obviously he got his penalty into the second half. How did you think he's been playing so far this season, not just on Saturday?
Saka.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow start for him.
The guy's not up to speed yet. He's missing that relationship with Ben White, isn't he? It's a big deal. Relationships. I'm saying this on another stream. Relationships in football are everything. That's why you need to. That's why I was annoyed with our pre-season, because there was no relationships being built. We were playing players that aren't going to be there. And that relationship between him and White was red hot. You know what I mean? So that's gone.
Yeah, it worked.
You don't see Party bombing down the wing, do you? It doesn't happen.
No.
Party inverts into the middle, whereas Ben White used to do overlaps. Didn't used to always get the ball, but he used to create the indecision so that Saka could come inside. That's not happening. So I think Saka, and on both sides, Martinelli as well. As for their goal, sorry, just quick touching on the first goal.
Sure.
Couple of points. I think me and you are probably the only two people on the planet who actually thought that was a good shot by Pereira. I thought everybody's saying he miskicked it, and that's what pulled Ramsdale. I thought he placed it, but I don't blame Ramsdale, because Ramsdale was just going. He was put in that position. He had to come back. And he was just caught out. I personally wouldn't blame Ramsdale.
I couldn't put. You couldn't put any blame on the goalkeeper for that. He was trying to get his position back, but I think he took it early and he took it well. So I do.
I thought at the time, wow, what a great goal. Or what a great, well taken goal, I should say.
Yeah. So another point is that Odegaard took the penalty against Palace, the winning penalty, and there was a lot of talk in the FPL world about, has Saka been taken off penalties now all of a sudden? But when Arteta was asked at the end of the game, he said no, there was no change as far as he was concerned, in terms of who the penalty taker is. So it seems like Saka is back on penalties, because he was their penalty taker last season. And what was his record like? Did he miss any last season?
Very good. He's got an excellent penalty. I think he missed one against West Ham, if I remember rightly. I think that's the only one he missed. It was a vital one as well, because it cost him 2 points. But
yes, actually,
he missed one against West Ham.
Now. Yeah.
When Odegaard took it last time, Arteta was questioned after the game, and he said they just decide out on the pitch who takes it. I don't know if I believe that. I think he was just covering the players there. You know what I mean? I think Saka is the penalty. Sorry, I'm doing that with my desk again. Saka is the Saka is a penalty taker for them, and quite rightly so, because as I say, I think he's only missed one. So.
Yeah, because they were saying that in pre-season that Odegaard hadn't missed a single one, and that's why he was. But I think they said afterwards that they had the conversation, the pair of them, and he asked Saka for the penalty. Saka gave it to him. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But you would think that a club of that size, you got to have a nominated penalty taker. You wouldn't be passing it around.
Absolutely.
And I don't think Arteta would be happy with that. I don't think Arteta would. No, I agree with you. I think he was kind of like.
I've seen managers get very angry before when somebody's giving it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you have your number one penalty taker, your number two, your number three. Don't you? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so I think he would have been pissed off behind.
I don't know about you. Sorry, I don't know about you, but I've seen games in the past where a player scored 2 goals and they were 5-0 up. The player's got 2 goals, and everybody watching wants that player to take the penalty. At Man City, I remember Man City. And it wasn't. It was the main penalty taker, whoever it was at the time, took it. And everybody's saying, why didn't they let him take it? No, it's Man City. They've got a plan. They don't leave anything to chance. No sense.
So as we went into the second half, so Saka got the penalty. What did you think about the actual awarding of the penalty? It was a handball. It's another one of those. I mean, we've said this before. How can you dive without your arm going in some sort of direction?
I don't like it, Ez. I don't like it.
I don't like it. I heard.
I like to go back to the old rule where it's deliberate handball.
Yeah.
Unless there's one, unless it's actually stopping the goal. He's on the line. He goes to head it, misses it, but it hits his hand. So it's
Exactly.
accidental, but it stopped a goal. Then you give a penalty. Other than that, I hate it when they're, you know, on the corner of the area and they slide in and it's their hand. You think, well, he wasn't going to score from there or anything. You're not denying a goal scoring opportunity or anything. So he didn't do it on purpose. He's not looking at his hand or the ball. You know, it's just, as you say, it's the way your body reacts when you slide in. I don't like it.
It's just, and the other thing, and again, it's this top six bias, whatever you want to call it, but how quickly Jared Gillett blew his whistle. You know, it's like you don't give yourself some thinking time, you know, because once you made that decision, they're not going to overturn it, are they? They're so quick.
Way.
They're so quick, and it seems to. I mean, this top six, but we don't want to go into it too much. But we've already said what we needed to say about the referee in a Man U Forest game, and how these bigger teams are. There's no doubt about it. If you check the stats, if you averaged it out, they definitely get more of the decisions in their favor. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, very behind it. Very briefly, I will just briefly touch on ours. I said if that had been given, if that had happened the other end against Manchester United, would we have got a penalty? And I've not met anybody yet that says yes. They all said no chance.
Exactly.
And somebody put out a fantastic video today of when Jono got booked for diving, when Rashford did exactly the same thing on Jono. I could send it to you. Yes, he did exactly the same thing on Jono. He nudged him over with his hip, and Jono got booked.
Yep. Yeah. And I say that's the other thing, you know. So there's definitely the decision doesn't go in your favor, and on the other side, you get done for diving. So it's a double whammy, you know. But there's definitely something not right, and we'll touch on it as we get deeper into the show. But I'm just not happy with the standard of refereeing in this country.
I'm even less happy with the VAR because referees can make mistakes. VAR there to coldly look at it. And look at it from different angles and make a decision, and they're just not doing it, just backing the ref all the time.
We could literally do a whole show on the dodgy decisions.
Yeah, we better move on because you're right, we could.
At some of the conversations they've had, because it was Mike Reed, is his name Reed, that released that statement saying that, you know, he was protected.
Mike Dean.
Yeah, Mike Dean, so Mike Reed. He was what was it? Frank Butcher, wasn't he? That's Mike Reed.
Basically, top of the presenter if he's as old as me.
But basically, he released a statement saying how he was protecting his mate and didn't want to send him.
I know.
Didn't want to send him over to the monitor because he's had enough grief already. So
how often is that? How often is it happening? How often is it happening? I mean, yeah.
How long before they get the professional footballers involved in this? Because it's just all it is now. It's a old boys club for all these referees. You know, they all know each other. They all dealt with each other. They're all backing each other up, and it seems to be that there's a closed house here. It needs to be infiltrated, and it needs to be other influences in Stockley House.
It's definitely an old boys network. Like the guy that got sacked last year for not drawing the lines. He's back in. He's back in.
I know it's ridiculous, isn't it? But so. Then as we go in, after the penalty, then Nketiah come on as a sub, didn't he, in that game? He didn't.
Yeah, he came on in the second half. Yeah, early in the second half.
Yeah, he scored pretty soon after he came on. Really well taken, smart little finish, wasn't it?
He's looking the business, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's doing really well because considering that have they sold Balogun now, or certainly he's on his way.
Yeah, he's gone to Monaco. He's
gone to Monaco, hasn't he? Nketiah's done really well to keep him out, to be honest, and he's proving himself because Jesus is going to be back any day now. Would you put Jesus straight back? You would have to put Jesus straight back in, wouldn't you? Because he is.
Well, believe it or not, a lot of the top Arsenal fan channels who were very sort of downbeat on Eddie. I'm calling him Eddie now, on Nketiah. For the past year or so, they're actually starting to say, no, Jesus should be on the bench. Eddie deserves to play. You know, so even they're changing their minds because he's not only scoring goals now, but he's doing a lot of the other work that Jesus does. He's obviously not as good as Jesus outside of scoring, but he's a better goal scorer. than Jesus.
Yeah, I think that can be argued because whatever you say about Jesus' goal scoring record, still not what you'd want for a top striker to be leading your front line.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jesus is a fantastic player. I'd love him for us. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking him at all.
No,
but Eddie's a more reliable goal scorer in general.
Yeah. What do you think Arteta would do? Do you think he'll ease him back in, or because at the end of the day, Nketiah is doing the role that he was asked to do? Maybe the bigger question is what do they do with their German, because he seems to still be. They've got to, haven't they?
Yeah,
we've got.
I can tell you Arsenal's team what it should be right now. It should be Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Gabriel.
Gabriel's another one.
Yeah, Gabriel, the French guy, the new kid, Saliba, Ben White, Partey, Odegaard, Rice, Saka, Martinelli, and then probably Jesus in the middle. That's their side.
Okay, so that's pretty much their lineup from last year. Who's Rice coming in for? Just remind me from there.
It's coming for Xhaka, who had a magnificent season last season.
Yeah. Do you reckon Gabriel's on the way out? There were rumors about him being linked to Saudi, but he's not getting the game time. Is even with Tomasi injured? Go on. What's your theory? I want to hear it because he's in my FPL team. I haven't told him yet.
Because the first 3 games have been against relatively crap sides. I'm including us in that. I think he's purely experimenting how he's going to play against a low block. When he's playing the bigger sides, I think he'll revert to what it should, the normal side of last season. Yeah, I think he's literally saying, how can I do this to get more chances against low block sides? That's what I believe. If I'm wrong, if he plays the steady side next week, then he's an idiot.
Yeah. Because Tomiyasu got sent off against Palace. So I expected Gabriel will come straight back in. He still didn't bring him in. So no. I don't know.
Gabriel was their best. Forget Saliba. Saliba was magnificent. But Gabriel was their best defender last season.
That's why he's my first signing on FPL as a defender, and he's barely played. So I'm on about selling him soon. But
I'd wait till this weekend. He might be back this week.
I've made
against Man U.
Yeah, I might leave it one more week, or wait till after the international break, which is after this game, isn't it? So we've got obviously the end of a transfer window, guys, on Friday. So make sure, like I say, you tune in, and then we go into an got the weekend's game, and then it goes to an international break. So we will be away for a couple of weeks just to give ourselves a little bit of a break, to be honest, more than anything else, because I'm kind of worn out. It's only been 3 weeks of the season so far, but I'm already worn out. But so if Nketiah came in and scored what proved to be the winning goal, got them into the lead, and then very late on, Palhinha scored an absolutely fantastic goal to get the equaliser. I'm surprised he's still there, mate. How has somebody not signed him?
Well, he was injured though, wasn't he? He's only just got back, and I wonder whether that's the reason. There's still time. I mean, Liverpool should get him. They need him in that midfield. Man U should get him. They need him in that midfield.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm with you. I can't believe he's still there. He's far too good for Fulham. I'm sorry,
such a great ball player as well. He's his stats are up there with any CDM in that league, and I'd be surprised if they keep hold of him, considering all the players that have left around that squad. But they've still got.
If they lose Palhinha, Fulham are in trouble. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they've still got some decent players, but he's their king. He's their main player now. He's their main man.
Well, they've lost Mitrovic, haven't they? That was a massive blow, losing Mitrovic. If they leave Palhinha, they're the 2 best players, basically.
Without a doubt. So they're the reason they finished where they did last season, because without them, I see them struggling big time this season. I see them in the bottom 5, bottom 6 this season if they carry on. But what helps them is there are other teams that are just as bad. And I just want to briefly touch on the Everton-Wolves game before we move on to our next featured game. Definitely, as far as I'm concerned, 2 of our relegation hopefuls. The only thing that could save either one of those teams is Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley being worst. That's the only thing. Otherwise, them 2 are absolutely shocking. Everton haven't scored a goal yet. They haven't got a point on the board yet.
Everton are creating loads of chances, I mean, good chances as well. I've seen both 2 games of theirs. I can't remember what the one was, but two in particular stick in my mind where they created loads of chances and didn't score a goal.
Yeah,
so,
both their home games. Both their home games this season. I think we've had like 17 or 18 shots on target between the 2 games. Call it bad luck or call it bad finishing. They certainly missed
bad finishing.
Bad finishing's got to be part of it.
Yeah.
Even when they've got Calvert-Lewin, he can't stay fit for more than a game. Wolves, on the other hand, it was a vital win for them to get them off the mark for the first time. I really feel sorry for their manager. I've got to say, I've grown to like him as much as we derived at Bournemouth last season. I got some time for Gary O'Neill, and he's got a right prick on his hands at the moment. How do you pronounce his name, Mateus Nunes?
People take this on authority, right? I know everybody in the world says Nunes, but it's actually pronounced Nunes. The Portuguese only pronounce it Nunes when there's a Z on the end. Other than that, it's Nunes. So yes, Mateus Nunes. Yeah.
He's gone on strike, hasn't he, to try and push a move to Man City. As Forest fans, we know about players going on strike. Van Hooijdonk back in the day, which probably set a precedence for a lot of what these players do nowadays. What do you think of that situation? Is he doing the right thing for his own career? I mean, for me, if I was a team looking at signing him, that would be a massive, massive signal for me to not really go for that player. Would it put you off signing him if you've seen a player go on strike? We heard similar stories about Bolly when he came to Forest, didn't we? That he'd refused to play. And
don't forget, Mr. Kane went on strike 2 years ago as well.
Yes, he did, but that didn't last very long, did it?
No. Well, he's not got the balls to follow it through, has he? Listen, I can understand why people say exactly what you're saying about would you want to sign a player that's gone on strike? But I look at it the other way. He's 25 years old. He's got a chance to move from relegation fodder Wolves to triple winners Manchester City. That's hard. That's hard to sit there when your club are saying, no, we want this much. And you're thinking, just put a reasonable price on my head. I want to go. I can understand his frustration. I can understand what it must be like. Because this may never happen to him again. If they don't get him this year, they'll find somebody else. And it may never happen for him again. He goes to Manchester this year, he's going to win things. Whether he plays or not, he's going to win things. You know what I mean? And Rodri played 60 odd games last year. They don't want to burn the guy out. So there's a position for him there when they rest Rodri. So I can't honestly blame him because it must be frustrating for him. You think, you're a shitty club. But I do understand the other side of it as well. Do you want a player that's done that? I don't think Man City are worried about whether he'd do it to them.
I don't think they are either. I don't think it bothers them.
If a player did do it to them, they'd just say, well, piss off then.
Well, this is it. As you've just said there, if they don't sign him, they'll move to the next player. Man City aren't stuck in a where they have to.
Happened to Kane, didn't it? Kane had his one chance. They signed Haaland the following year. End of Kane's dream to play for Man City.
Yeah, that's it.
Man City. Kane could literally have a Premier League win, an FA Cup, and a European Cup in his medals in his back pocket right now. Just let him go.
No, I know. This is, taking all that out of it, he is actually a really good player, and he'd be certainly fantastic. And you talk about Rodri, we will get on to Man City next, in fact. So let's go on to the next game, which is.
Can I just say very quickly, from our point of view, we want Nunes to go, don't we? Because that weakens Wolves. Just putting it out there.
Absolutely. And I think that they've definitely putting themselves towards the bottom. That was their first 3 points of the season. They're only just behind us in the table. But I do have feel a little bit sorry for Gary O'Neill. That was the only point.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Let's go on to the Sheffield United Man City game. They made hard work of this one, didn't they, City?
Does it remind you of any other Sheffield United game? Maybe ours was pretty damn good, considering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Man City weren't sparkling, were they? But when
Haaland missed a penalty in the first half on the 37th minute, striking the post. And then he just seemed very frustrated because he had quite a few opportunities after that. To be fair, Vodring made a couple of fantastic saves as well.
Good. I like Vodring. I think it's good.
I think he's a decent keeper, very decent. I just don't like the team that he plays for, and obviously the manager that he plays for. But they did make hard work of it. How did what? I mean, they're not even out of first gear at the moment, are they? City. They don't need to be. So far, they haven't needed to be, but they almost that was a great end to the game. By the way, it was really exciting second half. As soon as Sheffield United got the equaliser, which was a very good equaliser, very good finish by Jadon Bogle. City went down the other end, and the play that you just mentioned, Rodri, what a player, man, and what a strike that was for his goal. Well, just after thingies come on, they didn't start with Foden. They brought him on. They said it was a bit of an illness, so rather than a rotational thing or an injury, it came out afterwards that he had a bit of an illness, which is why he didn't start the game. But he came on. He got the assist. That was definitely not an assist. But what a strike by Rodri.
Yeah. He miscontrolled it. It's the first time I've ever seen Foden miscontrol the ball, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. But what a strike. What a strike by Rodri. And then
frightening.
They did what Man City did do, and they just saw out the game. Sheffield United really didn't have too many opportunities, but they could have come away with a point. I mean, like we did last season, it was quite a late equaliser from Bogle. They might see themselves a little bit unlucky they couldn't hold on, but Man City are Man City, and like I said, they didn't even have to get out of first or second gear in that game. And as soon as they needed a goal, they seemed to get the goal. They're still a machine.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to Rodri for a second.
Yeah, sure.
This is why I hate the Ballon d'Or, because the Ballon d'Or is supposed to be. It's actually voted by a few French journalists, by the way. That's it. It's supposed to be for the best player in the world. Unfortunately, because of the corruption in that system and the favoritism in that system, it'll go to the little dwarven Argentinian again, who basically has played 5 good games in the World Cup. That's it, in a year. Rodri's been magnificent. He should be the Ballon d'Or winner. He's the best player, in my opinion, the best player in the world at the moment. But like I say, you know, favoritism, corruption will come out on top as usual. It's one of them games. It was pretty similar to ours in some ways. I think Man City had a bit more control than we did, if I'm honest. But yeah, they did what they had to do, didn't they? And like I say, you can't legislate for a finish like that, can you? With 2 minutes to go. I mean, don't get me wrong. On another day, Rodri could have put it over the bar, and Sheffield United would have come out with an amazing draw, as we did last season. This is football. This is the beauty of football in the Premier League.
And after only 3 games of the season so far, Man City are the only team with a 100% record, which is quite surprising so far. So,
and how many have Sheffield United got?
Sheffield United. Well, I'll show you the table in a second. In fact, let me just sort our screen out and I'll bring the table up to stream. Whenever you're ready, as here we go. Let's have a look at bottom half of the table. I mean, funny thing is, Everton are sat bottom. Let me just move. In fact, let me just move that off the screen, so we can see it ticker off. I see that better. Everton are at the bottom of the table, having no points, but having played 3 games. And obviously, Burnley and there's 5 teams yet to get their first win of the season, and there's 4 of those that haven't even got a point yet. Everton being the bottom of that.
All looking good.
All looking good. We are where we are. But let's go on to our final game of our review, and then we'll finish off.
Sorry, can you just confirm? Because, you know, I can't see the screen properly. Can you confirm how many points Sheffield United have got?
Sheffield United have got a big fat 0.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Yeah. No points.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, 3 played, 3 defeats. There are -3 goal difference as well.
It's nice to see Higginwanker getting exactly what he deserves.
Higginwanker, that's what he is. So I'm not going to put him in the wanker of the week. I'll show you the wankers of the week in a second. So let's go on to our last game of our review, which was the last game of the weekend, and it was a pretty tasty game. I really enjoyed it. Not as high scoring as previous Newcastle Liverpool ties, but let me just take that. Let's bring us back full screen. I want to see your pretty face, bud. All right. So Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2 as it finished. Newcastle had their bloody chances in that game. Let's go from the start though. Gordon gave Trent quite a ride in that first 15-20 minutes. And I think he was looking out to get sent off, considering he got that stupid yellow card just throwing the ball away. He could have easily have got a straight yellow card for his push on him. So I
go back to it. If that had been the other way around, or not in this case, but if that had been a Sheffield or a Forest player, would the referee have sent him off? I think he probably would have.
Well, even if the incidents had been the other way around, he probably would have. He would have booked him for. Say if that push on him wasn't isolation.
He definitely have booked him for that.
He definitely would have booked him.
Definitely would have booked him.
So is that again? Isn't that favoritism again? You know, I know they ended up having a player sent off, and rightly so. But Gordon really ran rings round Trent about first 15-20 minutes, and then he slipped a ball through for Isak, and Isak was quite royally taken out by Van Dijk, wasn't it? Any doubt from your point of view that it was a straight red card?
No.
I've heard a couple of people try and compare it to Worrell's red card, but no, not at all for me.
There's nothing like Worrell's red card.
No doubt.
Nothing like it.
No, there's no doubt about it. Isak would have been clean through on goal. There was no other defender getting anywhere near him. And he took him out. And the worst thing about it was Van Dijk's reaction. You know, he very. I mean, sour grapes.
I've just read actually that he's been charged. Van Dijk for his reaction. Yeah,
I'm not surprised. His reaction was over the top. Sour grapes doesn't even begin to cover it, but he didn't want to leave the pitch. Very different to the Worrell situation, where Worrell's waiting for the review. There's no doubt he was being sent off. You can lip read what he was saying to the ref and then to the assistant.
Oh yeah, you saw the F. Van Dijk, you saw the F word, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Throwing a few F-bombs in there, wasn't he? Sour grapes, but he can't argue, really, can he? It was a straight red card. There's no doubt about it from my point of view. And, and then Gordon got the opening goal. Just talk me through his performance, Ant. Because what I haven't done is just thanking all the guys in the chat. We're too busy trying to get through it ourselves. But yeah, thank you everybody in the chat. There's about 50 of you in there. I will bring up some of the comments. But yeah, and just wax lyrical about Gordon's performance. I think he played really well, mate.
Well, I think he's played well in the games he's played this season. He's coming into his own. He was a good player at Everton, and then he for my money, he had a big dip, even at Everton. And I was surprised when Newcastle bought him for 45 million, because at that time, he wasn't actually playing that well, in my opinion, whereas he played well previously. Then obviously last season, he didn't really get into it. This season, he's looking like a proper player. But I will just make one point of it. I hear a lot of people gassing up Sorry, serious. Shut up. A lot of people are gassing Newcastle up. I'll tell you what, in my opinion, Newcastle's problem is, I don't rate their attack. I don't rate Almiron, and I don't rate. I'm sorry, everybody, but I don't rate Isaac. Never have done.
You don't?
I know people love him, think he's going to be the world's best striker. I'm not impressed. He looks gangly. He's not got great technique. He misses opportunities. For me, he's not that. He's not that. So that's where I think Newcastle are going to struggle. Not struggle as in mid-table, but struggle as in, progressing up the table. I think their attack's going to let them down.
My head's gone blank. What's their other striker's name? The one who's been benched at the moment at Newcastle.
Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson. Do you think he's a bit unlucky not to have started any games?
He's a proper finisher, but I just don't trust his fitness. He never looks fully fit to me. I don't know if I'm imagining it, but he just never looks fully fit. I wouldn't like him to be our starting striker, because I don't think I could rely on him to finish a game. Well, you fuck off with your Batshuayi. Shite.
I know.
Jesus.
By the way, Wolverine, you're welcome to join the stream and talk Batshuayi if you want to. Use your clout and get me a few more subs in it. Oh, actually, we've got up to 56 or 57, guys. Thank you for everybody who's in here. Sorry that I haven't got through your comments because I got distracted.
Well, the latest one is I agree, Anne. So
yeah, well, yeah. So from Red Raw Emotions, yeah. Bless you guys, but we do really appreciate your support because it makes it all worthwhile. Sometimes, I think, can't be asked to do another stream, but you know what? I love doing working with Ant. It's not work really, is it? It's just two mates chatting. And guys, get your birthday wishes in for the big man as well. A couple of days away, isn't it? And look out
31st.
I'll ask you later. In fact, I won't ask you on stream.
I know what, it's really annoying because it used to be the last day of a transfer window, so it was like it was exciting. But now we've moved it to September the 1st.
We saved the transfer window for you, mate. But yeah, great game anyway. Liverpool should have been out of it. The amount of chances Newcastle had, Liverpool should have been dead and buried, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, you've got to give top props. You got to give top props to Nunes. Those finishes were fantastic. Not what I expected from him at all. You know what I mean? I think he's starting to look a bit scary, isn't he?
Because he's talking both very well.
Their attack's good anyway. So if he can start producing as well, it could be a bit scary in attack.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they had to make a tactical substitution when Van Dijk got sent off, and they took what's his name off, the winger. They took him off anyway. Basically, they took an attacking player off.
Diaz.
They took Luis Diaz off to bring. Who did they bring on in the defense? I forget because he's so shit.
I'm glad you made notes.
I know. Sorry, mate. It's been a long week, long day already.
I know.
Anyway, so they bought a defensive sub on. Liverpool, like I say, they rode their luck as far as I'm concerned. Newcastle had some fantastic chances. There was a couple of great saves this weekend, I should mention. And Alisson made one of them, didn't he? From Almiron shot. Can you remember where he flicked it onto the bar? That was a cracking save from.
It was a fantastic save. Yeah, it was. And shout out to Andy Porter. His birthday is the same date as mine.
Bless him. Happy birthday, Andy. For your
I bet the bugger's younger than me, though.
You never know. Shows your face on there. But yeah, they were lucky to be even in the game at that stage. Nunes came on and he took his finishes fantastically well. Can you see him being used as a super sub, or do you think he will start games soon? Because Gakpo has been a bit.
He's not carried on his form from last season, has he? He's not carried on his form from last season, Gakpo. No. I do like him, by the way.
Gakpo, I heard. Yeah, I've heard so many. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, Gakpo. But he leads the line well, but he's not a finisher, is he? He's not a striker as such. I think obviously they rely on players like Suarez to get the goals for them. Because he's not that kind of player.
Do you mean Diaz or Nunes?
Diaz,
I don't think they got a Suarez.
Luis Suarez, Diaz. We're going to rely
on Salah. And Salah.
Yeah, Salah's had a slow start, but Salah's always a danger man.
Three goals in 3 games. Slow start.
Do you think he's going to stay? Because there's a lot.
Should I stay or should I go now? Well, I think that if he was given the choice, he would go. I think that's all he means. Yeah. He's 31. Liverpool aren't going to win the Premier League. They're not even in the Champions League. So you fast forward another year. If he doesn't go then, he's got nothing left to win at Liverpool. He's won it all, and they are not in a position to be challenging for any of the 2 big ones for the next couple of years, in my opinion. So why not go for 750 grand a day, I heard it was.
Because, you're right. I mean, apart from goal-scoring records, there's not really much more that he can go for while he's at Liverpool. And
But Liverpool have been mad to sell him. So
it's late in the window. But the danger is, and I've mentioned a few times, is the Saudi transfer window closes a week after ours. And
I think it's the 20th.
No. So there's been a confusion about that because FIFA said it's the 20th, but the Saudi Pro League themselves have said we sent out a memo at the start of the season that we would end our transfer window on the 7th. So they've said they're definitely ending on 7th, even though FIFA seems to still think it's the 20th. They've clearly said themselves they're going to end it on. So either way, it's after hours, or after European windows close. Is there a danger of the league, or we could lose some top players? Because there's nothing stopping it happening.
Definitely. Money, generational wealth money is very, very difficult to turn down for any football player. And if they want somebody, they can offer that, and they can keep offering it, and they can pay what the hell they like because they have unlimited amounts of cash. Literally unlimited. You know, if they want to pay £1 billion for Salah, they can do it and they wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
So this is what we're up against. This is why things need to be, well, that's a discussion for another day.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we will do some more, maybe do it in international break. We'll have a chat about
they're doing nothing wrong, by the way, and I don't blame them. Don't misunderstand me. But
I don't either.
For European football,
we are state funded. The state's funding it all, and obviously they've got bottomless pockets. So the money's going to be there once they get the infrastructure right. And I think one of the major key things that guys we have to be aware of, because it will happen. There's no way it's not going to happen. Is eventually they're going to be given a Champions League place. And who can argue it?
Let's discuss that on another stream.
We will discuss it on another stream.
It's a big discussion. I've got
absolutely. But guys, thank you for sticking with us. I'll just bring up the league tables before we bring up our. So we're not going to put a nomination in for Wanker of the Week because we know who it's going to be again this week, and it's not who you guys think it is. I'll surprise you a little bit. So, excuse me, bottom of the table, bottom 10. As you can see, Everton right at the foot of the table, propping it up nicely. Not a single point on the board. They haven't even scored a goal yet. Like Ant says, they've had plenty of chances, but they haven't managed to get off the mark. And there's several other teams who've not got a single point yet. Wolves got their first win of the weekend against Everton, and obviously got themselves off the mark. But it's early days, obviously. 3 games gone. The top of the table, though, like I mentioned, Man City are the only team to have a 100% record so far. But West Ham have had a cracking start to the season. They've
had a cracking transfer window as well, by the way.
They have, and they still got players coming in, haven't they? And I didn't think they would give Moyes the money, but they're clearly backing him because they're spending money. They're definitely spending money, and that's the striker of Kudus. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Kudus.
Kudus.
I cannot understand why some of the more
another one.
They're all linked with him. They were all linked with him, weren't they?
Yep.
All of them. Man City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool. They were all linked with him. And he's gone to West Ham.
I know.
Good on him.
And what did he do on his last performance for Ajax? Scores a fucking hat trick, doesn't he? Pardon my language.
Did he score a hat trick? I knew he'd score. I didn't realise he got a hat trick.
He scored a hat trick on his last game, mate. For fuck's sake,
they get some good players.
I think we'll see what happens once the Europa League starts and how they can balance that. But they've certainly had a cracking start to the season. I see Arsenal 2 wins and a draw. Same with Liverpool, Tottenham, and West Ham. Brighton slipped up on the weekend. It was a tough game, but to be fair, I think they'll still do really well. Villa, our boy Matty Cash scored a couple of goals. Moussa Diaby still looks fantastic.
Good finish by Diaby as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he's a great player as well. He's too good. He is world class. He's one of a few players. I mean, there's a few more that have joined the league this season that are world class, but he's definitely one of them. Real top class player. Really surprised to see him join Villa of all teams. You could see him at Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool easily, but he went to Villa, and to be fair, he's hit the ground running. He's not needed time to settle in, has he? He's done.
When you think it, they paid about the same, not far off. Arsenal played for Havertz.
Yeah, I know.
What are you thinking?
Exactly, but really good player, really fantastic. I can see them doing well, but again, it's another one of those. Once Europe starts, we kind of mentioned this before when we did a preview of the season. That once European football starts, Unai Emery loves a European run, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he loves a bit of silverware. Often it's at the detriment of his league position. But
again, if you're a Villa fan, you're probably happy to finish 7th and win a trophy.
You would be, wouldn't you? You would be. I mean, I still think Arsenal were a little harsh on him and they got rid of him a little too soon. But they needed some education on that, on what he was actually all about. And I think if he'd been a bit more open about what his aims are, then it may have been more understandable. Anyway, guys, I'm not gonna
go on. I'll let you know.
No,
I was going to say, at Arsenal, you can't sacrifice Champions League for a Europa Cup. You can't do it, and that's exactly what he did. He played a weaker team in the league to play a stronger team in the Europa Cup. He ended up not winning the Europa Cup and not qualifying for Champions League. You can't do that at Arsenal. And Arsenal needed a massive clear out as well. I don't think he's got the character like Arteta has, that ruthlessness to just chop, 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 chop and change. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway, that's that.
Everton have finally signed a striker, and Beto. I have heard his name. I don't know too much about him. I don't know if you. No, I don't know.
I vaguely remember a Brazilian from years ago named Beto, but
yeah,
I think it's that one.
No, that was Bebeto, though, wasn't it? It wasn't Beto.
Oh, yeah, you could be right. Yeah, you could be right.
Bebeto and Romario. Remember, that's where that
was it.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, because I still don't know how I can work the poll, but what it does is it slows down my stream here, so I'm not going to get the poll up. We've decided amongst ourselves that the candidates for this week's wanker, and it's not wanker, it's wankers of a week, has to go to the PGMOL. If I can bring it up. There we go. Here's our wankers of a week. We can all have it. They can share that trophy.
Easy one.
There's Stuart Atwell, Mike Dean, and the head of it all, Howard Webb. Bunch of wankers. They're destroying football at the moment because of this. Whether it's VAR, whether it's their on-field decisions, it's not working. I know what VAR was brought in for, but it certainly isn't doing that job. And it's about time we had a bit more independent panels in that Stockley Park, because I don't like the way they're doing it, and all their secrets are starting to come out now of how they're doing things for each other.
All their dirty little secrets.
The dirty little secrets. Even Ten Hag's come out and said they're the best paid or best that money can buy. So that, call it a Freudian slip or whether he was being truly honest with us, I don't care. They're all a bunch of dickheads. Well said, Keith. Everybody else agrees. Nice choice. And a lol from Red Raw Emotion. But guys, thank you again for joining us and listening to me and my football friend Ant waffling on, talking football. We wanted to make this. Guess how long we've been. Well, you can see how long we've been on. Didn't it? Nearly an hour. I thought I was going to do half an hour and just get it done with. Get it over and done.
It's always on for an hour before we start. But
it's always. But a couple of things to look out for, guys. Like I've already mentioned, make sure you are hitting the notification button on the High Press channel, because there's so much content coming out at the moment. Dino's I think he's quit his day job because he seems to be putting out videos every 20 minutes. I can't keep up with him, but he's got some amazing content out at the moment. Please make sure you give him a like and a subscribe, and like I say, hit the notification button on his channel because there's so much content coming out. I have got an FPL stream as well later on in the week. It might get pushed out of the way by the transfer stream. We'll see. I'll sort it out, and I'll make sure, again, you hit the notifications button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you so much again for all your time. You could be anywhere else in the world, guys, and you decided to be here with me and listening to us waffling on. But so thank you all for your time. And any final words before I press the end broadcast button? And I'll press it at time.
Just to repeat what you say, thanks everybody for tuning in. Chat's fantastic as always, and we'll see you soon.
Bless you. Take care, guys, and we will see you soon. Watch out for all the